Hello folks, and welcome to another video. I hope this one finds you safe and well in this crazy mixed up world that we inhabit. Seems to be getting crazier and more mixed up by the day, doesn't it? By the minute sometimes. What have I got for you today? Well, it feels like I've got a semi-voyeuristic video. I'm on top of a roof here, peering down at a bird. Hey, that's very on brand on this channel, isn't it? I guess, folks, as I jump down from the roof and sort of zoom in at said bird, resplendent in the black square livery, the all black, there might be a hint in the choice of livery today, folks, as to where we are. I guess this is going to be a second look at Sim Update 15, the beta. There's been another beta release since I made the video featuring the first look. I've had a few flights in the beta. Summarise my experience, probably best summarised with two words, and that is mixed bag. Mixed bag. It hasn't been the greatest experience. It's been very inconsistent, I should say. So I'll share some of that en route, and some general thoughts. This aeroplane on my screen, the Longie, has received some updates as part of the beta. So we're going to go check those out. It's my first chance to fly it. So that'll be nice. And there's also a new tool that's made its way to the community, a performance tool. I speak of the tool known as AutoLOD, or at least that's how I pronounce it. AutoLOD. We'll have a look at that for what it's worth. I'm running a test version of that. Promising is my summary so far. I've had two flights with it. I've made some changes in my setup to try and get some more consistent performance. So that, combined with this new tool, has produced some promising results. I'll share those and we'll have a quick look at the tool. It won't be a tutorial. Don't come here looking for a tutorial. I probably won't do the tool justice. It's a tool looking at a tool. That's what you get on this channel, folks. But I'll share my thoughts for what they're worth. This is an FS economy run as well, for those of you that inhabit that ecosystem. We're taking 8 packs from this location to another location. Let's have a look at the flight plan. And if you haven't guessed, we're in New Zealand, folks, as we so often are here on the channel. We begin our journey in a little place you may have heard of, the capital of New Zealand, being Wellington, or Welly as it's affectionately known to the locals, and those of us with YouTube channels that pretend to be locals. Wellington, we're going to take off runway 34 according to the prevailing winds, and then sort of a left-hand turn after departure across Cook Strait, and then basically kind of up the guts or down the guts of the South Island, pretty much tracking the spine of the South Island, you might say, and then flying an approach and arrival of some description. It will be improvised, whatever the description, into Queenstown. Beautiful Queenstown, one of my favourite places in which to commit virtual aviation. A journey of, well, it's not going to be at 20,000 feet. We're going to go down at probably about 42. That'll change things. So 366 miles, according to this flight plan. Flight time of an hour. That's all right. It won't be. That's tolerable to me today, and hopefully tolerable to you in a shortish video. En route, as I said, we'll have a look at my experience with the Sim Update 15 beta to date, and a look at this new AutoLOD tool. Let me get it started, get our packs loaded, and get on our way. Alright, engine start has been achieved, and we're just getting some pushback assistance here, King and I. Of course, I realise, in the grand tradition of this channel, that I actually made an error in the name of the tool that I'm going to feature momentarily. I called it AutoLOD. It's actually known as AutoFPS. AutoFPS, so my apologies to the developer of the tool. We'll just stop the pushback there, thanks champ. AutoFPS. is is the name. We'll just wait for old mate to get out of the way. We'll think about hang on, I should have stayed outside for a bit. What have we got to do here? We've got to cross 3-4, taxi over the other side behind that little lighty over there, don't we? Alright, so left hand turn. Do you give us enough space? Oh yeah, we'll get around without hitting the guys loading up the rotary there. Beautiful scenery here in Wellington. This is Flight Beam Wellington, fantastic, along with their Auckland, and I think there's another location they've done in New Zealand. Am I right? I could be making a mistake. This could just be an error-riddled video, and some of you will be thinking, well, what's new? Seriously. We got the taxi light on, a little bit of juices coming in, get rid of that display. Before we do that, just focus on the taxi, champ. Not a lot of room here. There we go. I do have AI traffic running again. I've had that switched off for a bit to try and recover some frames. I've taken the plunge, taken the risk. It's what I do here on the channel. It's all about calculated risk. Well, most of the time it's just bloody dumb risk rather than calculated. But Kingy, should we do the thing? Is there anyone rolling? No one rolling. We'll continue across. Let's assume we got clearance. And what I wanted to do as we do that, not that one, get rid of this. Where are we? Map full. That's what I wanted. Righto. Now, hopefully that wind is a northerly as I read in the forecast. And as the box presented me with as I was doing my performance calcs here in the beautiful Longitude, one of my favourites to fly, along with, well, the fly sim where the Learjet has my heart at the moment. I've been flying that a lot and enjoying it. It got yet another update I downloaded yesterday. That's a fantastic aeroplane. Different feel to this one. This one's very modern. The Lear feels its age, but it just flies so nicely. It's got real character, the Lear. It looks like we've got a lighty departing, do we? It's a terminal. A lighty departing. There we go. So we used the full length. We'll give him a chance to get airborne. Stutters. Oh, 2 flights pretty much stutter free, and then they kick back in. That's no good. Not what I want. I might just fire up my little display, FPS display, that one there. Can I sit properly there? So I've got frames locked at 35. Now I've alternated between unlocked, locked, different lock numbers. I've settled at 35 because my rig seems to be able to handle it most of the time. And locking it at 35 has done wonders for reducing GPU temps. That's for sure. They were getting up there. They were getting high, running unlocked, which may have been the cause of some performance issues. My GPU may have just reached its limit, decided, that's it, I give up. So I'm running it, 35 locked, and the GPU temp here on the ground at Welling anyway is 60, and CPU temp of 50. We've used up most of the memory, most of the VRAM, and we'll just sync our heading bug. But it's holding 35 pretty well, which is what I would expect here at Wellington. Ish. Should we check that we've done what we need to do to actually go flying? So flight plan, trim set, flaps are set, we're barring up. We'll go auto throttle kicking in. We've got that on. I think everything else is good to go. What's that? Button on. I don't need to put that on. Sorry, I've been flying something else. So departure will be straight out, left-hand turn, AGSOP, and then across Cook Strait. Shall we do it? Let's do it. Landing lights on, strobies on, taxis off. Bring those throttles up. Here we go. full power, throttle power is set and all that, hold is enunciating, and we are rolling. Runway 34 Wellington, here we go. Good acceleration here in the longie. Frames are holding up by the looks of it. Slight drop there. We're going to rotate pretty early. We're pretty light. Not carrying a lot of juice. Rotate and all that. Positive rate. Even. Away we go. A straight out departure. Well, the first part of the departure is anyway. You might go Georgie pretty early. You can pitch up Georgie. You can go for that 200 knots, mate. You're into nav, you're into climb, you're doing good stuff. I want to go outside. Shout out to the good folks of Wellington. Nice day here by the looks of it. You get some pretty interesting weather. Really strong breezes up here. We should have a leftist turn before too much longer. 35 Whiskey November and then left out. Back outside we go. Pitching down, gain a bit more speed, Georgie. Performance is holding up pretty well. Pleased so far, just a little bit worried there as we had some stutters during the taxi. And then it drops to 33, but quickly comes back to 35. AutoFPS tool may be responsible for some of that. We should have a left turn soon, Georgie. You're flying through it. That's because old mate hasn't done his job. Ah, old mate. Very sloppy flying. Now turn, Georgie. Georgie? Oh, very sloppy. Out of this bird for a while, and he's forgotten which buttons to press. That's just very cool. Just a bucket of slop again here on the channel. He's too focused on the numbers on the top left. He's forgotten to do the pilot shit. Anyway, I'm going to safely say at this point we're safely away. Up through 10, we'll get landing lights can come off. We're all good. Folks, I'll see you en route. We'll have a look at what this tool does. We'll bring up the webpage that hosts the AutoFPS tool and yeah, reflect briefly on the experience with Sim Update numero 15 beta as well. Alright, settled nicely in the cruise up here, flight level 420. It's a beautiful day here in New Zealand. For those of you familiar with this beautiful country, and if you spend enough time on this channel, you'll become familiar with it. That'll be Kaikoura down there, Kaikoura, on the eastern side of the South Island. Absolutely beautiful, the Alps, etc. Wellington's back in that direction. Cook Strait, Contrail. It's lonely up here though. We don't have any traffic at our altitude. I'm running the GA traffic thing, so I don't expect that we'll see too many lighties up here at flight level 420. But you never know. It's a crazy mix-up world, as I said at the start of the video, folks. Let's have a look at this AutoFPS tool. I'll just bring it up first of all on the screen, and then we'll have a look at the web page and kind of go through what it does. Okay, so what you're seeing on your screen, I've got to be pretty quick about this because we're getting along at a decent clip, and top of descent is not too far away. You're seeing the AutoFPS tool, version 0.4.1, which is a test release. Current stable release at the time of making this video is 0.4.0. But, you know, danger is my middle name, so I went with a test release. Essentially what this does is maintain performance in your rig by adjusting a couple of things in the background, depending on different criteria. That's the simple, that's how I make sense of it in my head. We'll have a look at the web page for the tool, and the developer has documented it really well, explained it really well, and has done a fantastic job with this tool. I just take this opportunity to say to said developer, thank you on behalf of the community for making this available for Nix. It's impressive work, and the way you've gone about that, and the design process that I've seen play out on a forum, yeah, I'd really admire you, mate. So thank you, and well done. So we might just jump to the web page, which will probably explain this tool far better than I can just by looking at the interface. But that's what it looks like. It's a small little window. You can get a little bit fancy with customization by playing around with the expert options. That'll be, I think, better explained by the developer on the web page. I'm just going to disable that for now. But basically, the tool is trying to maintain an FPS by adjusting terrain LOD and clouds. Essentially, that's how I see it, as Georgie makes the turn towards our next waypoint. Let me show you the web page, and there'll be a link to this in the description as well. Alright, here is the GitHub page, GitHub bucket, GitHub library. I don't know what you technical people call this thing. The place where you can get this tool. Over here at GitHub. The developer goes by the name of Reset XPDR, Reset Transponder, I'm going to guess. He owns repository. That's the word I was looking for. And a picture of a dog. Oh, mate. I love it. You're my sort of bloke. I don't know anything about you, but I know the quality of your work, and you've got a picture of a dog in your repository. You're all right, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, this is where you can get it. This is kind of what it does, all this sort of stuff. I'm not going to... I don't have time to read that. I'm not going to bore you with it. I'll give you the link to it. You can view it at your leisure. There is a bit of a history to it, so it's kind of, as a lot of these things, this is how it happens, right? A person comes up with an idea, and then someone improves it, and then someone else builds on top of that, and then modifies it again. So it's great that he's called out the history of that and the work that other people have done. And yeah, calls out that it's a simplification of a previous dynamic LOD sort of tool. Automatically adjust T-LOD. Yeah, a whole lot of other stuff. I'm not even going to try and read anymore. I'll just link to it in the description, an explanation. There is also, I'll try and link to the forum post where the developer has, you can see how this tool has come to be, and he answers questions there. He's very active on the forum. So links, folks, links are your friends today. I've got to prepare for an approach into Queenstown, and the next segment will feature that approach. Alright, so on descent down through flight level 280. We're flying the Enroute 4 Bravo arrival down onto runway 23. But as you can see, and as I mentioned, and as you've become accustomed to if you've been here for a while, the final stages, the actual approach segment, will be improvised. You can see we've got a bit of a disco here. If I zoom in, you can see we've kind of got a break. It gets to at kill, and then the aeroplane won't know what to do. Georgie will throw up his hands and walk away. Bit like my graphics card tries to do. So we will improvise. We've got a visual plugged in. We'll improvise. We'll weave our way through the terrain. We've done it before, folks. Have faith. It's not a requirement to watch the videos on this channel, but it does help if you have faith. I thought I'd take this opportunity as we sort of take an external for you and let you have a look at some beautiful terrain. As I do that, just some general sort of commentary around experiences with the beta, particularly might be of interest to those of you that have not or have chosen not to participate. The first flight I did, which was the previous video to this one, I was quite happy with the performance that I was seeing. I was really happy actually. I was thinking, you beauty. It didn't last, and in fact I've had a pretty ordinary experience with Sim Update 15 beta. Half the flights, I don't think that's an exaggeration. I mean, I haven't been flying a lot, but there's probably been half a dozen. At least 3 of those have crashed. CTDs. At least. And then I had 2 flights before this one. So yeah, half. 2 flights before this one where it didn't crash, and I've been using the AutoFPS tool as well, and I made some changes. I cleaned out my community folder, well, cleaned it up, not cleaned out, cleaned it up, played around with locking FPS, which seems to be keeping my rig quite happy and coolish. I've brought the numbers back up here just for my own information. It's maintaining, it's really steady, the temps are steady, the usage is relatively steady. I mean, the CPU spikes a bit, but that happens in this sim. But yeah, I was kind of pretty disappointed after that first flight where I was seeing like 70 FPS and virtually stutter free and everything was tickety-boo, and then I did like 3 flights after that in different aeroplanes, all CTDs. And CTDs after pretty ordinary performance. It wasn't like it was, you know, operating really well and then suddenly crashed. It was like it was just struggling from the get-go. It was just a stutter fest, huge pauses, and then I eventually ended in CTD. So it's kind of like, screw that. But then we got an update pushed through a couple of days ago, I think, another beta update. Installed that, obviously, and combined with the AutoFPS tool and locking my frames, it's happy days again. So far, fingers crossed. I may have just jinxed myself. Anyway, there's just some commentary for what it's worth about the beta. Georgie has us down through 190. We've got 40 miles to run. We probably need to expedite our descent a little bit once we get past Pampu. Pampu's coming up. We've got to be above 15, I think, at Pampu, yeah. After that, we'll expedite our descent, make an approach, and hopefully a landing, to runway 23 at Queenstown. Alright, concluding stages here, folks. An improvised approach, heading towards the terrain. Betty certainly found her voice. I think they did adjust the terrain, or the TORS terrain warning system thing. I've managed to trigger her. Well, truly. And she should have call-outs down to 10 feet now as well, from what I understand. We've got about 9 miles to run as we sort of truck down the river here towards beautiful Queenstown, New Zealand. Special shout out to anyone who hails from this part of the world. Now, sim performance has been pretty good during the course of the flight, I have to say. We did have some stutters though between the last segment and this one here, where the frames dropped into the teens momentarily. AutoFPS, I'm guessing, kicked in, and we're holding 35 pretty well, which is nice to see. Down to 200 knots. We're looking at a VREF of 116 here. We're going to get a little high if we don't pay more attention. What's the wind doing? Oh, straight down the strip by the looks of it. Light westerly breeze here in Queenstown. There it is, comes into sight. There we go. We'll try not to trigger Betty again, but no guarantees here. You pays your monies, you takes your chances when you fly with the old fella. And at 170 now, we've got flaps 2, 170, gear to come, and another stage of flap, slightly higher in profile according to where the diamond is positioned. This is normally flying into Queenstown's a bit stuttery for me, so I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. We make an approach, turn for home. We'll probably take gear. I think I'm seeing 2 whites and 2 reds. Or maybe I'm just imagining that. Maybe I'm hoping that. Gear's coming down. We'll take full flap, retrim, a little bit more juices to get us there. Slowing down. Here we go. We're losing some frames, aren't we? Oh, Betty. You're overdoing it with the terrain. I know what I'm doing. We're good. Getting a little slow on it, but we're good. 2 whites, 2 reds. Stop whinging, Betty. Righto. Final checks. Gear down, flaps set, fingers are crossed, and the sphincter is tight. Wind pretty much down the strip-ish. It's very light breeze. No excuses here. Little high. We're going to nail that VREF though, aren't we? Runway 23 Queenstown. Oh, stuttery.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Oh, nice call outs, Betty. I like it. There's stuttered just before touchdown there as well. Nose wheel on, into reverse. Into reverse? What's happening here? We don't have reverse. What happened? The reverses don't work. What's going on with that? Okay. Anyway, folks, welcome to Queenstown, and thank you for your company in another flight. It is very much appreciated. This has been a sort of, I guess, a second look at Sim Update 15. We had a look at the AutoFPS tool. I offered some commentary about my experiences with the beta. For what they're worth, I hope that you got something out of this video, or at least it has been an escape from the crazy mixed up world that we inhabit. Folks, until we next meet, you stay well, enjoy your simming, and bye for now.